Gangs of Lagos, a brand new Nollywood movie produced and directed by Jadesola Osiberu. Let's talk about it. Gangs of Lagos tells the stories of three kids, Obalola, Gift, and Ife, who were born and raised in Isaleko, with a specific focus on Obalola's story, how certain things that happened or that were said during his childhood affected his life and his journey through life, as an adult in Isaleko, Lagos. First up, I need to say that Jadesola Osiberu is one of my favorite filmmakers in Nollywood. You probably already know that because she doesn't make films in a way as if she's trying to make a statement, as if she's trying to prove something, which some filmmakers do, right? Instead, she makes films in a way that, you can tell she wants you to enjoy the film, you as the viewer. That's how I feel when I watch Jade's films. I can tell she wants me to enjoy this film, and that is how she's approaching our storytelling, and I quite appreciate that. Now, for the casting, this movie features Tobi Bakre, you have Adesua Etomi Wellington, you have Bimbo Ademoye, you have Chike, the musician. Yes, this is the first time I'm seeing him in an acting role. Who else? You also have Chioma Akpota, you have Tayo Faniro. There were other appearances here and there, and I might mention a few people later on. What did I love about this film? Number one, I think the casting was quite good to an extent, right? I think casting Tobi Bakre as Obalola was a brilliant decision because Tobi nailed this character and brought it back. Okay, I'll talk more about that shortly. Adesua Etomi Wellington in her character as Gift or Ebun was also brilliant. I think she did very well. I think she did a good job. Chike was the person I wasn't so sure about because, again, this would be my first time seeing him act, but I think he did a pretty decent job for Ife, Omoibo. But as far as the casting is concerned, I would say that what really did it for me were the child actors. They were brilliant. Each and every single one of them, especially the younger Obalola. And they were on screen for the first 30 minutes of this film. So I really appreciated the fact that, they put in the work to find child actors that could actually act and that we could, smile at and enjoy and connect with, which were all the things I felt whilst watching these child actors. So kudos to them for that. Also, Tayo Faniro, was a revelation for me. As if you ask me, who is Tayo Faniro? I would say, he's an ex-Big Brother Niger housemate. And that's all I would say. However, seeing him in his character, it was as Nino, I was pleasantly surprised. So yeah, that Tayo Faniro was a revelation for me in this film, and I quite enjoyed his performance. Technically, the movie was on par, and I'm talking about the cinematography, the lighting, the mood, the tone, the grading, the production, design. I mean, Jade shot this film in Isaleko, the heart of Lagos. If you're not familiar with Isaleko, let me tell you that even as a normal person, as a human being, trying to go to Isaleko to shop, you have to fast and pray and you have to hold your bag a certain way, and you have to package yourself a certain way, just so that you ensure your own safety. So the fact that she shot in Isaleko for, I think, at least they shot for like 3 months, so they're about back in 2001. So that's alone, that's an impressive accomplishment. So kudos to her for that. The production design was beautiful. I loved the scoring of this film. I think it really honed in on what exactly this movie is all about. The opening sequence of Gangs of Lagos is actually worthy of a shout out because, man, it had me gripped. Okay, I was hooked from the opening sequence, and then the montage as well. Extra work, extra detail there. I saw it. I liked it. The storytelling. Most times when filmmakers try to tell stories of gangsters and, the hood and all of that, most times they overdo it in the sense that they either do too little or they do too much with the story, right? And the pacing as well is either always too slow or it's too fast. But with Gangs of Lagos, I have to tell you, I really enjoyed the storytelling and the pacing of the story. And I quite appreciated that because, again, it had me glued to the screen, which is a good thing. So what is it exactly that makes Gangs of Lagos? For me, I would say it was the intensity of it. I found it quite terrifying at some point because it became a lot at some point. But I felt like that was also the point of the film. I can't think of any Nollywood film that has pushed the limit of violence and intensity as much as Gangs of Lagos did. It was intense. It was gripping because even at some point I was like, oh my gosh, oh my daddy, yeah. But I understood that was the story the movie was trying to tell, and it told that story well. And you know why I'm not mad at the violence in the film? Because they didn't overdo it, and they did it well to a reasonable extent. Okay, you had to give it to them. The fight scenes, they were well choreographed. I mean, even the scenes where they were carrying those scenes that I'm trying not to spoil it for anyone, but I mean, it did what it was supposed to do. Okay, it had my mouth ajar, my eyes wide open or shut at some point because it was just a lot. This movie did what it set out to do. It wanted to convey a message very strongly. And as far as I'm concerned, message received. I already talked about Jadesola as a director, but the way she directed this film, I enjoyed it. I cried where she wanted me to cry. The cinematography was beautiful. It was in sync with how the movie was being told. I loved Tobi Bakre in this role. Listen, I enjoyed him in Brotherhood, but if I had to choose, I would choose Obalola, okay? Because Tobi did something exceptional with this character. The aura around him, the mood around him, it was deep. Even when his character smiled, the smile did not get to his eyes. I was like, this guy. From the moment the older Obalola, played by Tobi Bakre, was introduced, the mood around him, the aura around him, the presence it conveyed, you could tell that this is not just a guy that is doing what he's doing because he's enjoying it. There was more to the guy. Tobi was so consistent in this role that even in the scene between his character and Bimbo's character, Tenny, where they had to make out, they were making out and his eyes were dead. And I was like, take your flowers. I have to mention Rotimi Fakunle, who plays the character of Kazim, because I'd never seen him before, on screen. And I was like, who is this guy? Well done, sir. Well done. Okay. So now that I have gone on and on about how much I enjoyed Gangs of Lagos, let me tell you the things that I didn't quite like about it. Number one were the plot holes. There were some plot holes in the story. There were bits that just did not add up. So there were plot holes and then there were convenient plots as well. There were things that were happening, in the story, and I was just like, you know what I mean? They were obviously convenient, and I just felt like they could have been written in a way that, it would not have been so convenient, yet you would have still achieved what you wanted to achieve. You get what I mean? Okay, so I know I said that the violence was, all la 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 la. I did think that, Okmo. At some point, I was like, I get it. Can you stop now? I did feel like maybe they could have toned it down just a bit, just a little, for people that are faint-hearted like me. The other part of the casting that I had a few questions about were the child actors, the female child actors. Now, don't get me wrong, they did very well. I enjoyed them. However, how come as a child, Gift and Tenny were dark-skinned and now they're grown women and they're fully light-skinned, and it wasn't like they bleached because that wasn't a part of the story, right? So how? That was quite distracting. I can understand maybe the challenges with, trying to cast a younger Adesua and younger Bimbo, but at the same time, that was obvious. I also had issues with the follow-throughs of the fight scenes. You'd see a fight scene that's very intense and, in real life, that person would be dead. But, this is film, and if we appreciate Fast and Furious, then we can appreciate, yeah. But my point is, you see them beating hard at this person, right? Like it's intense. And then you see the person immediately after the fight and they're looking as if they just missed a step. The fight scenes did not follow through in terms of the makeup. You know, you can't beat somebody up like that and then they're only ending up with just a busted lip or a scratch on their face. I was just like, what? This person shouldn't even be able to talk, shouldn't even be able to walk. I also didn't like that we didn't get a backstory for Gift. For a major part of the film, I actually thought that Gift was Ife's younger sister, you know, because I was like, okay, they are friends. Okay, are they siblings? Like, okay, like, where is Gift from? Who are her parents? Is she Yoruba? I even thought she was Igbo. For the longest time, because they called her Gift and then they called her Ebun. Ebun is the same thing as Gift. So when Adesua, who played Gift, spoke Yoruba, I excused the, you know, imperfections in the Yoruba, because just as Ife's character played by Chike, I thought she was Igbo, and you know, I mean, they were even calling that one Omo Igbo. So if that person couldn't speak Yoruba fluently, then it would be understandable, right? But then towards the end of the film, I started asking myself, okay, who is Gift? I felt like that's someone that we could have gotten more from and learned more about, so that our stake in the story would make sense. Like a story arc, no matter how little. We got one for Chike's character, Ife. We got one for Balola, you know, with the whole San Francisco thing. But we got nothing we even got for Tenny, but we got nothing for Gifts. Last but definitely not the least would be Tenny's makeup. I found it quite distracting every time we were on the close-up shots. Her makeup was rough. I felt like Tenny's introduction wasn't, you know, it was greatly anticipated, but by the time it happened, I wasn't as wild as I thought I was going to be. I don't know why that was, but that alongside her makeup as well, I thought makeup was quite distracting. You know, every time it was on close-up, it wasn't well done. Overall, I thought Gangs of Lagos was a beautiful, well-made film. Kudos to the entire cast and crew. You know, Jadesola Osiberu should be very proud. You did a very, very good job. I thoroughly enjoyed myself watching this film. I think you will enjoy it as well. It's on Amazon Prime. That's why you're going to watch it, because it is a Prime original. Actually, it's the first Nigerian Prime original. Or is it African Prime original? One of the two. Amazon Prime. That's where you're going to find it. Have you watched it? What do you think? Let's talk in the comment section. Yes, I'm back. I know you want to talk about that, but maybe I'll do an entire video about that later. But for now, Gangs of Lagos in the comment section. Let's talk. If you're not subscribed, I'm back, so you should subscribe now. Thumbs up the video, share with your friends. Tell them Adenike is back, okay? Okay. Remain in God and God bless you. Bye.